Hello again, Reds. Welcome back. Liverpool are finally up and running in 2026, and after a tough run of draws in the Premier League, there is a real feeling that the season is reaching a decisive moment. The recent 4-1 win over Barnsley in the FA Cup was exactly what the Reds needed: confidence, goals, and momentum. However, just as things start to look brighter on the pitch, injuries have once again stepped into the spotlight and are threatening to shape Liverpool's season in a big way. Arne will now turn his full attention to Burnley's visit to Anfield this weekend. It is a match Liverpool must win. 3 consecutive Premier League draws have slowed their progress and pulled them into a tense top-4 battle. With rivals dropping points and the season entering a crucial phase, every game now feels like a final. But the big question remains: who will be fit enough to play? Let's start with one of the latest concerns, young Rio Ngumaha. The teenager was handed a rare start against Barnsley and showed plenty of energy and bravery. Unfortunately, his night ended early when he slipped awkwardly on the artificial turf and went down holding his leg. Many fans immediately feared a hamstring injury, which would have been a big setback for such a promising youngster. Thankfully, Arne offered some calm words after the match, explaining that he expects it to be nothing more than cramp. Slot pointed out that Ngumaha has not played many minutes this season, and pushing past 70 minutes was already a big step for him. The good news is that Rio is expected to be available for the Burnley game, which would be a welcome boost, especially with squad depth already being tested. The situation is far more serious when it comes to Connor Bradley. The right-back suffered a painful injury in the dying moments of Liverpool's goalless draw against Arsenal. Chasing the ball near the touchline, he landed awkwardly and immediately signaled that something was wrong. Initial fears of an ACL injury were avoided, but the final diagnosis is still devastating. Bradley has damaged ligaments and bone in his left knee and will require surgery. This injury has officially ruled him out for the rest of the season. It is a huge blow not just for Liverpool, but also for Bradley himself, who had been enjoying a breakthrough campaign. Liverpool are now short of defensive options, and Slot will need to be creative to cover that position for the remainder of the season. Then there is Alexander Isak, whose absence has arguably been felt the most. Isak was in excellent form before his injury, scoring the opening goal in the 2-1 win against Tottenham before Christmas. That moment of joy quickly turned sour after a heavy challenge that left him needing treatment on the pitch. The Swedish striker was later diagnosed with a fractured fibula and ankle damage that required surgery. Slot did not hide his frustration over the challenge and made it clear that losing Isak was a major setback. The forward is expected to be out for a couple of months, but the positive news is that he should return before the end of the season. A March comeback is currently the target, and Liverpool will be desperate to have his goals back during the run-in. Another long-term absence is Giovanni Leone. The young Italian defender suffered a cruel injury on his debut in English football during the Carabao Cup win over Southampton earlier in the season. A torn ACL means Leone will be sidelined for around 12 months, ruling him out for the rest of this season and likely the early part of next season as well. Slot has spoken openly about how difficult this has been for such a young player, especially after adapting so quickly to a new country and league. His recovery will be slow and careful, with a return expected around September 2026. There are, however, some positives for Liverpool fans. Hugo Ekitike and Wataru Endo are both back in the squad after injury, providing much-needed options in attack and midfield. Mohamed Salah remains away with Egypt at the Africa Cup of Nations, but his return is expected later in the month. Every returning player now feels like a new signing, and Liverpool will need all the help they can get. As Liverpool prepare to face Burnley, the message is clear: this is a defining moment. Injuries may have weakened the squad, but belief, effort, and smart management can still carry the Reds forward. With Anfield behind them and key players slowly returning, Liverpool's season is far from over. The fight for the top 4 is on, and every game from here on truly matters. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you won't miss anything. Hello again, Reds. Welcome back. It's been a while. Liverpool's transfer plans are starting to feel very real again, and this time the focus is on the heart of the defense. While the January window may have passed without fireworks, new reports suggest that behind the scenes, the club's long-term strategy is moving forward with purpose. According to reports credited to Caught Offside, one Premier League star Liverpool have admired for a long time is now open to making the move to Anfield. That player is Tottenham Hotspur defender Mickey van de Ven, and this development could be very important for the future of Arne Slot's squad. At Liverpool right now, central defense is an area that cannot be ignored. The Reds missed out on Mark Guéhi late in the previous window, and the long-term injury suffered by Giovanni Leone has only increased the pressure. Arne Slot is currently working with very little room for mistakes at the back. Virgil van Dijk remains world-class, but the demands of modern football mean rotation and depth are essential. Ibrahima Konate and Joe Gomez are valuable options, yet both come with question marks that make planning ahead unavoidable. Konate is entering a critical stage of his contract, and discussions about his long-term future are becoming more urgent. Joe Gomez, meanwhile, continues to attract interest from abroad, with AC Milan among the clubs reportedly watching his situation closely. When you put all of this together, it becomes clear why sporting director Richard Hughes is actively exploring the market for a center-back who can serve both now and in the years to come. This is where Mickey van de Ven comes into the picture. The Dutch defender fits perfectly into what Arne Slot wants from his backline. He is quick, calm on the ball, strong in recovery situations, and comfortable playing with a high defensive line. Slot's system depends heavily on defenders who can defend large spaces and still remain composed under pressure. Van de Ven has shown exactly these qualities during his time in the Premier League. What makes this story even more interesting is the existing connection between player and coach. Slot has admired Van de Ven since his Eredivisie days, long before his move to England. There has been respect for his style, discipline, and football intelligence for years. Now, with the defender reportedly open to joining Liverpool, that long-standing admiration could finally turn into something concrete. At Tottenham, Van de Ven has stood out even during a challenging season. Playing in a team that has struggled for consistency is never easy for a defender, yet he has continued to show professionalism and commitment. That mentality matters at Liverpool, where expectations are high and pressure is constant. Anfield demands players who can handle both criticism and praise, and Van de Ven's attitude suggests he could adapt well. Liverpool are not putting all their eggs in one basket. Other defensive targets, including Joel Ordóñez of Club Brugge, remain on the club's radar. However, the fact that Van de Ven is reportedly open to the move gives Liverpool a clear advantage. Whether this becomes a January move in the future or a major deal in the summer of 2026, the key point is that the groundwork is being laid early. From a fan's perspective, this is the kind of news that brings quiet confidence rather than loud excitement. It shows planning, patience, and alignment between the manager and the recruitment team. Van de Ven would not be expected to replace Virgil van Dijk overnight. Instead, he could learn alongside him, grow into the role, and ensure that Liverpool avoid the sudden drop-off that often follows when legends move on. There is also something reassuring about the logic of this potential deal. It is not about chasing headlines or big names for the sake of it. It is about identifying a player who fits the system, understands the culture, and can grow with the team. If Liverpool get this right, it could be one of those signings that feels obvious when we look back in a few years' time. Nothing is guaranteed in football, and Liverpool supporters know better than anyone that transfer stories do not always end happily. Still, knowing that a long-term target is open to joining the club sends a positive message. It suggests that Liverpool's vision is clear, the manager is being backed, and the future is being planned with care. If this story continues to develop, Reds fans should keep a close eye on it. This could be the next big piece in Arne Slot's Liverpool rebuild, not flashy, not rushed, but smart, strategic, and built for long-term success. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you won't miss anything.